Hello, everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call with myself, SaltEMike, and Croncy. Croncy actually couldn't be here today, but I thought it would be way more fun if I took a screenshot of him starting his stream and not know that anybody was watching. And just leave him there looking incredibly bored or concerned or really in deep thought about whatever we might be talking about today. Now, I actually was planning on having a guest host this week, somebody who I consider to be the through and through Star Citizen expert from top to bottom of the game, and that would be Space Cutlet. Through and through. If he does happen to call in today, I'm going to prioritize him on the caller list, and we'll bring him forward. So I know Frosty is modding and helping with that. If you do see him come on the list, that's how that's going to work. But I thought against it, and I think wisely, as this topic is incredibly polarizing in the Star Citizen community. And I don't think what the Star Citizen community needs is content creators shoving their opinions down everyone's throats like they are the right ones only and nobody else exists. That's exactly what we don't need in this situation. So the less of us talking, the better. So I am quickly going to run through my feelings on item recovery and 4.1, and that's it. And just quickly, just talk about those things. I'm going to start with 4.1, and we'll get to item recovery right after. I want to get through the 4.1 stuff, as I think it's going to be most of our discussion over the next month, right? 3 weeks probably would be my guess. So I am going to bring up, let's see here. I wasn't actually planning on doing this, but I decided midway through what I was just saying that I want to bring up yesterday's stream and kind of go through some of the things that we saw yesterday in the .1. So, first things first is Caterpillar. Caterpillar can now be the doors can be lowered, which is pretty cool. As you can see, not that useful. Like, I can't put a ground vehicle on it very easily. There is no cargo grid on it, and all that stuff. So yeah, cool thing, good start, but it doesn't really solve a lot of the cargo problems with the Caterpillar. The next thing is the tier 0 implementation of the item recovery, but we will get to that. So the other stuff that I checked out in particular was this. Spoilers here. There's, Hathor bases, and there's basically now contested zones on the surfaces of some moons in Stanton. And there's some cool stuff that can happen with it. You're looking for keys to get batteries to turn something on, and then there's lasers involved and things like that. I don't know if I'm going to easily be able to find it, and I will try to scroll here and look. But I go through my journal at some point while I'm in QT, and I wonder if I can find that easily. And I don't think I'm going to be able to, so I will just tell you what it is. There is a description in the journal about the Valacar, and it's really cool. They tell you how to spawn it, essentially. And yeah, it's really neat. So Let's Go says it was before rock mining, which I entirely skipped over our discussion here, right? So it was while I was in QT rock mining. It must be in here somewhere. I don't know. It's going to be hard to find because it was a really long stream. Oh, there it is. Found it. Sweet. Boom. So here it is. Might be hard to see on mobile and stuff. I'll read it out to you. It tells descriptions of the Marok and the Copians, but then you get to the Valakar, and it says Valakar, originally indigenous to the deserts of Lear 3, Valakar spend the majority of their life below the surface using overlapping plates to burrow through the ground. Having evolved in the desert, these omnivores need very little water, extracting what they need from their diet of vegetation, detritus, and meat. What is detritus? Just like poop? It sounds like. Valakar have 3 distinct development stages, with juveniles being 4 to 5 meters, adults 10 to 10 meters, and extremely dangerous apex over 300 meters. Juvenile and adult Valakar have fangs and are often harvested to use for luxury goods. Apex Valakar develop highly sought-after pearls, which are ground into powder and used for biomedical and industrial purposes. But then, I think maybe if I go back a little bit here, it's just going to be really hard to get this right. Let's see. I think we will see eventually here me find where it tells you how to get these guys to show up. So I'll just let this play. And it talked about how I'm going to be eating. I'm sorry. I was eating lunch and looking at it. At this moment. So maybe if I can go ahead a little bit. Oh, yeah. Here we go. I got it. So then they show the habitats of these things. And Deserts of Stanton talks about vibrations of an Atlas suit can attract the Valakar. The defunct Hathor group notoriously abandoned several mining facilities in the area because their operating equipment summoned the Valakar. I wonder if we're summoning the Valakar by going to these locations, right? To be clear, there is no Valakar in the PTU currently. Deserts of Daymar, same thing, right? So, very cool. Very cool stuff here. Atlas suit and these things. No longer the spin the vehicle around that we saw at CitizenCon, but very cool stuff. Also, there's new gems. I believe I am literally looking at one in just about somewhere around here. I think we can. This is going to be so hard. I see it in the thumbnail, but this is Baradum, which is the easiest thing to mine. Basically, what they did was they extracted the Dolivine, Hadanite, and Aphorite from ROC mining. It's gone. Now there's a whole list of new ROC minables and a whole list of hand minables. They told us at CitizenCon they wanted us to essentially separate these, so you're looking for crafting materials in one direction and another direction. So people who enjoy hand mining are going to do that, and people who enjoy ground mining are going to do that, which is really cool. So that was one of the easiest ones to find. I think what I'm doing right now is I'm getting out. So right now, everybody, there's now an emote of Croncy. This is fantastic. I hope he's asleep and wakes up to this. And now I'm going to look at the description of Baradum. So let's pause it here. And it makes no sense whatsoever. At least I don't think, but maybe. Formed when sap from the Barabur fir is crystallized during forest fires, and this transparent deep blue gemstone is often polished smooth and used in jewelry. While it can be manufactured by growing trees and then doing a controlled burn, the time investment for the trees reach the proper maturity still make this a rare commodity. So, yeah, a forest in a desert is kind of weird, but it could, the desert could have been a forest before. I don't know how I feel about that. What I'm guessing is most likely is planets and moons that have forests that, think like maybe Hurston that have been like destroyed and things like that. maybe you find these here a little bit more, where there could have been these things. So I think what we're finding is Baradum everywhere. I think eventually we're going to have a whole list of rock minables, and Baradum will find its biome that it belongs in at some point, but it's going to be spread out everywhere for right now. There's quite a few other ones. You'll have to look at the patch notes for that, but cool change. Doesn't really matter right now until we have crafting, right? So that's all I really want to talk about currently for the 4.1 stuff. Feel free to call in, talk about that if you want. Just so you guys know, item recovery, again, one of the most... Oh, Waikaro, that's true. I almost forgot something. Thank you. When did I go and visit him? This is spoilers on top of spoilers on top of spoilers, chat. I found him. So if you don't want to see this, do not... close your eyes and your ears. But there is what is referred to as a new mission giver. He does give missions. They're up at the top right. One of them is for Tundra Copian Horn, which doesn't exist as far as we can tell. 1 Pips and a Chili Bira Burrito that he's requesting. But what he really is for right now is what we saw in the monthly report. He is a new... or the roadmap or something. He is a new ATC guy. So essentially, when you call for landing and leave, he speaks. And he's literally a Banu. This is a Banu, our first alien in the game. Amazing. We have an alien in the game. It is cool no matter what way you look at it. It's amazing. But what... it's not exactly how I would have hoped to see the aliens come in the game first. I would love to see them come in, you know, more interactable, but that's what we got. If you look out in the area, this very Banu architecture type stuff, it's a new station, and essentially you deliver these goods to him, and you know, when we get into the hangar, it's just a giant hangar with a bunch of stuff added onto it. And yeah, it's cool. We have an alien with animations. It's in the game. It's great. We shouldn't be complaining about this. Obviously, would love to have it be more. There is a coming soon door. Yeah, and alien architecture, which Morph says in the Twitch chat right now. There is a coming soon door right behind all this holographic stuff, and people have glitched into it. I didn't. I don't want to. I want to see things when they're ready for us to be seen, and this is not ready for us to be seen. So basically, you put the stuff down the freight elevator and you complete the missions, is how I understand it. There wasn't really much else there, but yeah, there's... We got 3 weeks of this, so I don't want to, you know, kill myself finding everything and getting it all down to the nitty gritty. I want to enjoy it, right? So, so far I wasn't able to complete any of these missions, but hopefully we will. We'll be able to soon. That's all I want to talk about on 4.1 because I want to get to the actual item recovery thing and, again, get as many callers in as I possibly can. One of the most polarizing things I've ever seen in the Star Citizen community ever, and for good reason. I'm going to quickly run down how all of it is meant to work very quickly. Just give me 1 second here. I got to find the item recovery post because I think I want that to speak for itself. And I didn't think I was going to bring up too many posts here, but turns out I changed my mind midway through. Here we go. Let's see. Is this the full post? It's loading. It is. Okay. All right. So with that said, we'll come back here with very bored Croncy. Croncy, what do you think about item recovery? It's great, right? We'll start with the tier 0. Tier 0 is basically anything that you have equipped on you, which includes med pens, med guns, tractor beams, ammo. Anything that is attached to armor plus the armor itself is unlootable. This also includes guns. Unlootable. Hate it. Hate everything about it. Hate the idea that there's a tier 0 in 2025 in the first place. Hate the idea that this exists in the way that it does. Love the idea of being able to use armor that I think looks cool without the risk of losing it. Love that idea. There's two sides to this coin, 100%, but they are able to. I'm at least able to see both sides of that coin, which is good. So the idea here is, I don't think weapons should be unlootable. You got to be able to disarm your enemies first and foremost. I don't think any of the equipped things should be unlootable. If I run out of ammo, I should be able to loot anybody and everybody in this scenario to loot ammo off of them and their weapon, and that disarms people completely. And I think that that's a good middle ground to this, because I don't think that cosmetics on the weapon are as important as cosmetics on the armor. And they sold items, and that's it. That's pretty much where I'm going to stand on the tier 0 thing. Keep it to armor, just the armor. Everything else should be fair game, because there's just too many gameplay implications that are negative to too many people. And the main thing that I think people bought these things for is for cosmetic reasons. That's it. Equipped things are lootable. No, they're not. You can't. Correct me if I'm wrong. You cannot loot the ammo off of what's attached to the chest. Did I miss something? Gear that you had equipped. Items such as med pens that you have equipped can still be looted from your corpse. However, you will also respawn with these items. Oh, I am missing something. I'm glad I read this for the 10th time and finally caught that. This is me being emotional about this and not getting too much out of it. Okay. They dupe that. I think it's kind of okay that they dupe that. No big deal on that front. Does anybody care about that? I don't as much. I think that's okay. I think that's okay for a tier 0 one. The weapon part, no. The weapon part, no. And the weapon should not be duped either. You got to disarm people. And if they can respawn in a vehicle right next to you with that duped item, I have an issue with that. So the weapon is the one that I'm going to stand and hold my foot down on, and I think that would be a good middle ground for everybody. You lose the weapon, but you don't lose the armor because you want to look cool. Hopefully that's cool. Tier 1 and 2. Tier 1, you register your stuff so you don't lose it, which, again, maybe weapons shouldn't be registerable, and at this point, they should probably be separating out the skin from the item itself if they can. I think the idea of bricking an item is one of the dumbest things I've heard as a solution to this problem. Essentially, what that means is, if I have an item looted and I really want to keep it, I click a claim like I would on the ASOP terminal, and it will create a timer for that item to disappear. I imagine the claim timer and the claim timer and the item timer of being bricked are exactly the same. And essentially, if you looted a stolen or bricked item, they want you to sell it for credits, which essentially makes it not a dupe, because if you sell it to in-game for credits, it disappears from the game world, you get credits, and the player gets their item back. This is not good. I don't think this is the least elegant, least good solution that we have. Pledged items are auto-registered. That seems fine to me. Nobody should lose anything they paid real money for entirely, because they should have been cosmetics in the first place. CIG made a bad decision and chose to go that way. What I don't like is this is not being applied to just cosmetics. This is being applied to everything across the board, and it has too much gameplay implications for something that should just be cosmetics. There are better solutions. There are more elegant solutions. Morphologist, who's in the Twitch chat, we just reacted to his video on this, and his solution, in my opinion, is the most elegant and the best in regards to weapons, armor, anything. If you want that thing back, and it is a cosmetic item, and it should only work this way, is that the stuff that you paid real money for is the thing that you should be getting back, not just your gear. It should be applied like, for example, a sunburst, the big fat armor that I usually wear. the heat armor. I forgot the name of it. Pembroke or something like that. The Sunburst Pembroke armor, bright yellow, crazy looking. I should be able to apply that to a base Pembroke, and then I essentially get my item back that way, right? That's the best way to do it, in my opinion. And then restoring bricked items, this is their solution, is that you will take essentially the commodities to make that item again and craft it yourself. And I have a huge issue with this because crafters want to craft. All players don't want to craft. Crafters want to feel useful, and players who want to get their stuff back should be buying them from crafters, not doing it themselves, right? Some players will craft and do other things. Some players will never want to craft, and there needs to be solutions for all those people. And yeah, I'm not into that. Obviously, I downvoted this and put a clown because that's how I feel. But to be clear, this has more upvotes than it has downvotes. You can't add these together because they're all the same. So more people like this than hate this. Reason being is because people spent their money and they don't want to lose things they spent money on. Obviously. But I don't think people are liking this because this is the best possible solution. I think people are liking this because they want to get their stuff back, and they're only thinking about themselves in this scenario and not everybody. In no world do I want people to lose their paid for gear. No world do I want that. Everybody should be able to get their cool looking stuff back because they want to look cool. Everybody should be able to express themselves and the way they want to look. The choices that they made are the least elegant solutions, and they are promoting players to buy items on the store so they don't lose them. And so they never have to interact with any game systems whatsoever. Is that game design? Remember, how many times Jared said, take us along and talk to us about, he's teaching us how game development works. Is this how game development works? Or is this how mobile game development works? Or is this how making a store works? No, it's not. It's not. It is not how this works. And I think that these solutions push way too many people to buy things from the store thinking they're gaining an advantage now, when look at how many people have stuff that they've purchased. And they purchase those things for clearly a reason, because you lose them. So they bought them because they thought they looked cool. And they just want to look cool. That's what I really think is the problem here. On top of that, for a game that has no loading screens, there's a few of them. Right? And when you die, there is a loading screen every time. What if you were able to load out your character in the loading screen very quickly with cosmetic skins if you want, or basic stuff that you have in your inventory at the location you respawn in? What if while you were waiting to load in, you handled all that stuff, and whatever, you could change the gear that you want to wear. You could change the weapons that you want to wear. And you spawn in the medbed with all that stuff, and you get in and go playing. This is a twofold problem. It is a cosmetic issue, and it is a wasting my time issue. And CIG solves none of these problems. Well, they solve problems here by making these changes, but they create 10 extra on top of it that affects so many more people than people that bought stuff on the website. They gotta figure this out in a different way. And that's where I'm going to leave it. That's my opinion. I'm done talking. I want to hear what you guys have to say. So that is the most important thing here for me, is I got my point out, I think, as quickly as I possibly could. And I will not try to argue with anybody. I really hope there are people that are differing in my opinion, and it's not just a bunch of agreeers. So with that said, I'm going to go right into our first caller, which is Blazemonger. So, Blaze, can you hear me here? I might not be able to hear you, so hold up. Testing. Go ahead, Blaze.
1, 2. Hello.
Okay. I don't hear you because my headphones turned off, but you are being heard by the stream. I can hear you now. So,
okay, perfect.
What are your thoughts on what you want to talk about? Is it 4.1 or is it item recovery? My assumption is item recovery.
It's basically item recovery. There's one thing in 4.1 that actually, I really do not like.
Completely. So 1 second. Chat, you can hear him, but I can't. Hold up, Blaze. I'm sorry, buddy.
That's okay. I'm holding.
Okay. Yep, holding. I can hear you now.
Perfect. Okay, battery's down, I think. Yeah, that happens.
Yes.
Yeah, so I've a few things about 4.1, but I think that the item recovery thing for me is important, more
Yep.
important.
Yep.
I actually did a post on that on Spectrum, which lays out how I feel about that.
Sure.
In general, though, I feel that CIG is overreaching in what they're doing.
Yep.
They're creating a solution for a problem that's not really there at this point. The main thing that they should focus on is what you described. People who paid for stuff in the store should not lose it.
Yeah.
The problem here has always been, and the discussion has always been, and the reason why the kiosks came into the game has always been because CIG was working on people being able to get the gear that they pledged for back.
Yeah.
They
Or
always
even with
said,
the kiosks is like simplify the let's make a more smooth solution to regearing your character or whatever, right?
yeah,
It was always about a quality of life kind of thing.
yes, but they actually specifically mentioned the recovery for items that you pledged for
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
as a solution they were working on through the kiosks. That
Oh yeah.
was what's going to happen. That's where you would be able to get it back. So that's basically gone. That whole idea is no longer there. So that's the first thing for me. I think they either do not understand the actual ask from their player base, or as you've mentioned, they're actually intending to drive a marketing solution here.
Do we think they're
In
that stupid, right? Like that's what you have to ask yourself. Do you think they're that stupid? And I don't think they are. So
correct,
it way more goes down the monetization hallway than they're just dumb, you know?
yeah, I agree. So that's actually a good point. I think the most important thing for me personally is there needs to be a distinction between what I would say are account bound items and character bound items. Meaning, account bound items is anything that you buy with real
Mm-hmm.
money. Character bound items is what you buy in game.
Yeah.
And anything that's character bound, regardless of what it is, should be able to get lost, should be able to be lost for whatever reason. The account bound items, it's like we've basically all said, it's a hole that CIG dug for themselves.
Yeah.
And that's something that they really can't get out anymore. So as a T1 solution, I actually think if you want to go to a T1 solution, which I think is a bad idea to begin with, but anyway, because we don't know how long it's going to be. Is it going to be a couple of months? Is it going to be a year? Is it going to be 2 years? I mean, we're still waiting for completion of everything that should happen for the cargo elevators.
How many tier 0 implementations are we still dealing with today?
We're a year
Too
on,
many.
and we still can't get proper refinery use through the cargo elevator. Just to mention one thing. But besides the point, really, the point for me is right now, if you want to do a T1, make it a very rough T1 version, meaning everything remains lootable as it is, and don't overvalue the problem, in air quotes, of duping. Because in this context, I really don't think that duping is that big of an issue.
When you say this context, you mean like the tier 0 current implementation?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. I mean, yes, there will be people who abuse the system, but it's for CIG to deal with that.
Yep.
They shouldn't carpet bomb the issue, trying to hit the right spot and make the problem go away.
Yeah,
because
that's
that's
my
what they're
biggest
basically
issue.
doing.
It was a cosmetic thing, and they applied it to just every item. It's weird and goofy. Why do you even have in-game shops then? Right? It's just an odd choice.
So when people get killed, let them be lootable. Give them back the gear when they respawn. Fine, I get that for tier 0. Eventually, crafting may come in. The solution of maybe considering changing pledge items from actual items into skins.
Yeah.
That's a controversial thing. Personally, for me, if CIG would go that route, I would say perfect. that's what should have been doing all along.
Yes, and can I
And
jump in there real quick? Anybody who comes on this podcast and says that that is a legal issue, you are
it's
probably
not.
not a lawyer. It is almost certainly not. Blaze and I both play EVE Online. Any item that is given to you that you can buy items on the EVE Online store. By the way, folks, any item that is given to you for real money on that website, it is applied to your account. You can interact with it. Whatever happens to it after that is up to you. So
Yes.
it is clearly not a EU law or any of these things that I'm seeing, because other games do this, and it is totally not a thing. So
Precisely.
it is most likely not, almost certainly not a legal issue. It certainly wasn't in that game.
Yeah,
But
I don't.
yeah,
I think it's for CIG. It's more that they don't want the hassle. They don't want the pushback. They know that's going to come from certain groups of people.
exactly.
But for me personally, from a game perspective, from a progression perspective for the game, it would be a much better solution because it would solve a lot of problems that we're seeing. They would just go away basically at that point.
Yeah.
So then the second thing that I think about ships is a different story. I actually like the idea that if a ship gets abandoned,
Yep.
it's bricked, and if you want to use it as a pirate or whatever way, you need to hack it to be able to claim it and then use that ship or
Yes.
some solution like that.
Yes.
Yeah, insurance should only apply, in my opinion, and that's a tricky one. But insurance should come to play when a ship is destroyed.
Why now? Because you feel, here's the deal. We have a ton of callers. We're going for a while. This is such a complicated subject that I want to give
Yeah,
people their time. If it's
sure.
okay with you, I'd like to kind of leave it there, but not hang up on you yet. I want to ask you
Mhm.
one more question before we go.
Yep.
Why is it okay for you, and I feel the same way, just to be clear, why is it okay to apply this dead man switch to ships and not FPS armor, weapons, and other things? It feels right to me to be applied to the ship. They said it at CitizenCon, and I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. And then I see it being
Yeah,
applied blanketly across every item, and then I have concerns with it.
I do it
Why is
too.
it okay with you? Because I'm still going through the mental gymnastics to understand my feelings about that one.
Yeah, I don't really understand why they're doing that because for me, basically, what it comes down to is value. A ship has such a value in game, and that you should have a mechanic like that in the game. For weapons, for armor, the value is relatively small in this context. What do you achieve by a deadman switch? There's no gameplay benefit for that. There's nothing there that really helps anybody.
Maybe. I mean,
In
maybe with the crafting tier system or certain items that are found off of certain drops from NPCs could
Yeah,
be. But again,
yeah,
that's
but
lots of speculation we don't know yet.
and that's down the line.
Correct.
So if down the line the crafting system and the way that's going to work makes that useful, then you
Mhm.
can revisit it, build it in, don't use it yet, but enable it at the moment that the game is ready for it. If you do it now, it makes no sense. That's basically, I think, how I would see that.
Yeah. I think we'll leave it there, but from
Sure.
the tier 0 standpoint, it's ready for something like this. I don't
Yeah,
think they chose
I
the
agree.
best solution, but people need to get their stuff back, and that's so like we're not saying don't put anything in,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And I think everybody, I mean, like you said, most people will agree that something needs to happen there. And it's really annoying if you have a lot of stuff that you bought
Yeah,
from the store. That's cool. Even if it happens through a bug, if you fly out
correct.
of Lorville with your stuff in your ship and the hangar door closes, your ship goes boom, all
Yep,
your stuff's gone, and you have to wait until the next patch.
agreed.
That's not good.
Yeah, not good at all.
That's the problem they need to solve. That's the issue, not what they're trying to solve now. I think that's what it comes down to.
True. All right, Blaze. Thank you for your call, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, man.
All right, bye now. Croncy, anything you want to add to that, or no? Okay, cool. So we're gonna go to our next caller. His name is Pungistic. Punji,
Hello, hello.
hello. How you doing?
Doing
Croncy
pretty good.
did not like the last caller, so you better step it up. All right.
I don't think I can ever impress Croncy. Not
Yeah,
today, at
he's
least.
not today. That's for sure. Again, in case people are just coming in and live, Croncy had a magic tournament until like just a little while ago. Super tired. Was like, I can't make it today. I need to sleep because tomorrow's Monday. You got to go to work. And I just decided to have him here in spirit. So he is currently looking at the website store, considering which pay to win armor and weapon he will purchase. All right. So Punji, what do you want to talk about today?
Well, don't not too fussed about tier 0, mostly because it's bad. There's no fixing how bad it is other than the weapons thing, and it's just a lot of energy that goes into discussing a bad thing they're already committed to. So I'm more or less just looking at tier 1 and 2 and hopefully beyond.
That's somewhat fair, but if we have gotten our pitchforks and we have gotten our torches out and gotten things changed before when they've made some stupid fucking decisions before, and this is not an exception to that, I don't think.
Yeah, hopefully at least the weapons thing, I hope they change.
Yeah.
But for tier 1 and tier 2, I generally like the shape of them, like how they look right now, mostly because there's not really any crossroads that could come up that we can't walk back from and not change anything, any of the issues with it going forward. And
Yeah,
someone
all
in
of this could change.
mhm.
Yeah.
And I think like with the item reworks for the crafting system, wear and tear, rarity, quality, and possibly that org coloration thing that they showed off at CitizenCon, they're going to be touching the general equipment systems a lot. So there's opportunity for them to divest the cosmetics into their own thing, making it much less of an issue of you need to always be getting back a Demico to get that skin.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I'm I am very curious about where this goes. I just hope it doesn't stay where it's at. I am not sure too many people are 100% on board with this through and through. Only a few people that want to argue in Spectrum and Reddit posts, I believe, are.
Yeah, but I guess a question I have is why would tier 2 ruin crafting? Because not everyone's going to want to go through the effort of taking their bricked item to a specific location to restore. They might offload it at someone who is looking for bricked items to restore and just get a replacement or get the crafted item from someone who's already made a bunch.
Because you have to look at the bait. For me, it's the root of the problem, and the root of the problem is, like I said, cosmetics probably number 1, number 2, just getting back up and going with what you wanted, and I guess number 3, not losing anything, right? And if your bricked items are replaced by you yourself, there anything you could do yourself will most likely be done by you. We got a raid from Erst from the Eve community where I'm gonna bring up Eve right now, so it's kind of good timing. Thank you, Erst. It is so rewarding as an Eve player to I chose a specific route because of this exact reason. Anytime you take what's called a rig out of a ship, it's destroyed. So you could take other things like weapons off of a ship and they don't get destroyed, but these rigs always get destroyed when you take them off. So I was like, oh, I'm going to craft those because they're going to be high volume and they're going to be things that people are always in need of. If you go blanket across the board and say, here's your insurance for literally everything, then it gets a little bit it takes that from me, I think. And there's lots of other solutions like durability and things like that. And again, I believe EVE Online is the perfect, full loot MMO economy. And we don't have full loot MMO anymore, so it may not apply entirely to Star Citizen, given what we're learning. But the fact that things are in volume means that there's always a need for crafters, and it's not just if you put it all in every player's hands, they're going to do it themselves. If you make it too easy for them, they're going to do it to themselves. And I see what you're saying, that time and all this stuff, they might choose to buy something, but this is incentivizing doing it yourself.
Yeah, you'll always have like those people who are super opposed to interacting with another player under any circumstance, and they'll wait out like whatever consequences comes from getting it back themselves.
Correct.
But I think with the like tier 1, it seems kind of like they're tying it to the ship systems, which, you know, we know how they want to do the ship insurance, where it's like rare quality of items, complexity of ship, and how often you've reclaimed it is going to affect how quickly you can get it back. I could easily see item reclamation being affected the same way. If you have a grenade launcher on your loadout, maybe it takes you an hour or two to reclaim that specific loadout. So I think eventually, like that should allow for players to be incentivized to stockpile either through looting or buying crafted weapons to stockpile certain items regardless.
Yeah, so that is somewhat of an argument that could work, but you're still getting the exact same item back that you died with, and it may never disappear, right? So if there's no durability involved in this, then your grenade launcher in this example that you finally tiered up to the max tier, it is everything you could possibly want. And if no balance ever comes to that weapon, and it happens to be a meta weapon in a given scenario or something like that, let's say, there is no need for somebody to ever craft another grenade launcher again, outside of the, oh, I am going to buy a temporary grenade launcher until I get mine back, right? Do you see the, like, it's, you're giving a middle ground, but I don't think it comes far enough in the direction of the crafter to make them feel the value that they deserve in this case, maybe. So
maybe.
Yeah. But I don't really want to argue against you guys. I want you to be able to speak your mind, and not, I don't want to try and convince you to feel the way I feel. So I don't know how to approach the calls and just let you speak and not say anything. This is a unique one for me because I really just want to let you guys speak your mind. I don't think your idea is horrible. It's not my preference.
Yeah, and it's more my preference without being fully my preference. It's more or less just like, this is how it can be. Like tier 1 is obviously less bad than tier 0. Tier 1 can be like hammered out a little bit further to be less bad, but still mostly be tier 1 as we have it. And I like at a certain point, like I don't think tier 1 and tier 2 with a little bit more tweaking means the game is dead for like any given profession. It just might mean, oh, your profession could be optional to some people.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Anything else, or do you want to leave it there?
No. I want to get off and let you get to more callers.
All right, man. I appreciate it, and yeah. Again, I'm gonna try to do my best to not try and convince you to come to my evil side. All right.
Yep, no problem.
All right. Catch you later, dude. All right. So that's Punji. Croncy, thoughts? Anything? All right, I guess we'll go to the next caller. Frosty. Welcome.
Hello.
Frosty, anything you want to say to Croncy, or no?
No.
Okay. He's still buying weapons. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, it's just probably the item recovery stuff. It's, from my opinion, it's just a stupid thing to do.
Okay.
At the moment. I mean, it's a good idea, but the way that they're doing it is just, it's just stupid. Like, I don't know whose right idea was to implement this kind of thing, but it's just I understand, like, it's it's a thing that's only just come in, and you got to actually have it in game to tweak it, but just the whole post with Zylo is it's kind of a yikes, because obviously it's kind of regressing on a few things like looting, PvP and all that stuff. And I'm a PvE guy, I dabble in both, but I can see the issues in all of these things, and it's a thing as well where this is a CIG system. Do we really think this is going to be 100% working even when it goes to live? It's not going to. It's like, for example, what PC went through yesterday. He died and they lost all his gear.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, in that scenario, right? This is the first wave of a PTU that was rushed through Evocati to get to us as quickly as possible, and there are still 3 weeks to fix that.
I mean, yeah.
The other
in that
side
regard,
of that story is it's involving prison, which is notoriously broken all the time and might not get fixed. So, yeah.
But yeah, but I'm just saying, like, even now to compare to when it goes to live, it's not going. I'll bet you anything, it's not going to be a 100% thing that you're going to get your gear back, because it's Star Citizen, it's CIG, but it's it's a system where I don't really feel comfortable in it. It's like, yes, it's good that you get all your gear back, because you don't have to gear up again and waste all that time. But I don't think it's the gearing up aspect. I think it's the journey aspect. Like in your stream yesterday, when you was doing one of the alignment stations, you killed a player, and within minutes he was back in there because he respawned in the Cutlass Red.
Well, we don't know that, because I don't think that's what happened. Maybe they might have just been wearing similar gear, because anytime I set my spawn to a vehicle, I still went back to my home location. So unless I was bugged and other people aren't, I don't think setting your respawn to a vehicle is working. So, but that scenario is possible, is what you're saying. I don't know if it's what actually happened to me, though. But just think about I kill a player in a PvP scenario. Oh, Foxy Loxy was able to respawn in his med turtle. Okay, so maybe it's a vehicle-based thing, maybe it's a person-based thing, whatever. But I kill a player and he instantly comes back fully reloaded and 500 meters from me. Is that going to be okay? That is a horrible tier 0 solution. So yeah I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone at CIG has spent the time to actually look at it at a gameplay aspect. It's more so as a funding aspect, because it gives backers now more incentive to buy stuff off the the pledge store than it is to actually get stuff in game now. So, and I think that's another reason where they're not going to move over from selling an actual physical item to going over to a sim system like the ships are.
Yeah.
The ship skins.
What we don't know is the future of armor, right? Are these items that we buy on the store, are they going to be better quality than the stuff that you buy in game? Are they going to be worse quality than the stuff you buy in the game? Are they just going to be like, there's still a lot that we don't know too.
Yeah, it's got, even with Zylo's post to me as well, with the the whole, it's a temporary system. It's really not. It's a system that you're going to have to replace anyway. Even with the tier 1 and tier 2, you're replacing the core system anyway. Exactly, it's not.
It's bullshit.
So
that's
bullshit.
It's
a bullshit thing, really. This whole item recovery thing, but it's something that we're very loud on, but it's something that they've got to take on board, because it's just going to kill an aspect of the game.
Yeah.
In both PvE and PvP, but hopefully, because they haven't said anything from the time between tier 0 and tier 1 either, so it could be months, could be years, we don't know. So
exactly,
yeah, that's the only gripe. But
and Star Citizen's history would say that it's going to be a while. But all right, Frosty.
Yep.
Sounds good, dude. All right, catch you up.
See ya.
Bye now. All right. Croncy's still remaining quiet here, but Clever Bard, can you hear me?
Hello, is my mic working well?
Yes, it's working great.
Hey, I was in your chat earlier and I was like, you know what? We're gonna be able to talk soon. So I'm notorious for being misunderstood over text. So
All
uh
good.
yeah, no,
I'm notorious for not being able to read, so that
well, this is perfect. So I think there's a lot more we know about this than we're remembering. So this is how I see it, I guess.
okay.
Um, if what their presentation at CitizenCon rings true, we have two things. So we have warranty
Yep.
and we have insurance. And warranty gives us back the ship with a delay or whatever when we claim it. But insurance just pays it back. You just get a payment. Tier 1, 2, or 3, the insurance just gives us UEC back. So we have to go back and purchase those things again.
Mhm.
From what it sounds like, they're not talking about warranties at all. So I was wondering, based on how you understood it, do you think tier 2, based on their language, gives us the item back, or is it UEC that we have to then go like buy the item again?
Okay. I'll bring up the post here, and it's not about. I don't think this is really about any interpretation. Let's just read
Okay.
it for what it is, right? All right. So, bam. Tier 1 will introduce your ability to register your gear and ships at kiosks or ASOP terminals. Important notes. Let's go straight to ships and interiors. Ships, along with their loadouts, decorations, locker contents, can also be registered. They can then be reclaimed in the state they were previously registered at ASOP terminals for a price. That is,
If they have a warranty.
where does it say that?
In the CitizenCon presentation.
That was in October. This is March.
Yes, but I think, like you said, was it Xylo who posted it?
Yeah, but Xylo is posting from another developer.
Okay, well, so I think not enough was said. I think that's one of the big problems,
Okay.
is that they didn't say everything. So I don't want to attribute malice where I could attribute
Understood.
incompetence. And I'm operating from that moral principle, I suppose.
Fair.
So I would imagine they would have addressed, hey guys, we're scrapping warranties. No, there's no more warranties, right? I think
They're
that would have been a bigger post.
they're not saying there's no more warranties necessarily, because I mean, I don't know. This
Right,
literally sounds
there's
like
too
you
much
go,
I don't know.
yeah, but the problem is this goes against entirely what was said at CitizenCon.
Which is why I think it was more poor communication.
What was
I don't think
CitizenCon or
the
this?
what you just read was poor communication. I don't
I'm
think they
gonna
could have been any
disagree.
clearer.
I'm going to disagree and say this is the newer information, so this is the better communication.
And I'm going to say, if anybody's listening at CIG, SaltEMike is the perfect guy to listen to on what the community is hearing when you speak. So CIG, correct
I'm the
any
dumbest.
misconceptions.
Yeah, I'm the dumbest like level possible. So if you got to have me understand it, so everybody does.
Truly. So I'm going to move on beyond that.
You're not
armor
supposed to
breaking,
agree with that, by the way. Like, what the fuck?
I was just going to let that slide. I didn't want to take away your thunder. Croncy, what do you have to say about that? Okay. Armor. The armor breaking weirded me out. Like, what do you lose all your whatever? So coming from Tarkov, if you get shot, armor decreases in value, whatever. How would they brick armor? And I don't like the idea of bricking any items. Bricking ships is okay. The only thing that I can think makes sense is that A, you get a stolen tag on the armor. So if you go to a landing zone, the people are going to put you in prison. B, the ability to use the armor, the heads-up display, the EVA, and they mentioned in the armor episode that a torso-heavy armor, if you do not also wear the legs, will be too heavy and it'll be a debuff if
Yep.
you don't wear like the set.
Mhm.
And that it says to me that the heavy armor will have a kind of power. In guns, there's a similar thing. What exists now in real life in 2025, back in 2015, I think they developed this, is guns that have computer chips in them that pair to a ring that if you hold the gun with the ring, it works. But if you have the gun taken from you and somebody tries to use it against you, it doesn't work because it's attributed to this ring. They could attribute armor and guns to your mobi-glass, and whoever's not holding it doesn't get to work. So there's an in-lore way that I could see it working, and that was my biggest. And believe me, Mike, I was completely freaked out by this when I first read it, and I'm coming around, but it's been difficult for me. So I'm just trying to steel man, I guess is what you would say. I'm trying to steel man their perspective. What do you think about that? The idea of bricking armor is like no EVA, no power. Like you still get to wear it, you still get the armor support, but you move slow. And what do you think about that?
I think we are. I'll just say it again for the 100th time. We are taking a cosmetic solution and
that was my next point.
Yeah, and applying it to every item in the game. And some people, myself included, love the most joy I get out of a video game in a competitive standpoint is after winning a fight against somebody, rummaging through their stuff and finding something I enjoy or could use.
My favorite part of Tarkov. I love that.
Exactly.
So in tier 2,
don't take that away from me.
Oh no, and I also believe, and people got mad at me on Reddit when I said, what you're buying on the store is a skin. And they're like, no, I'm buying the thing. And there are things on the store that don't exist in the game. Okay, I think it should be cosmetic. A morphologist solution is the solution.
Yeah.
Everything else we're arguing about is just whatever. We should really pressure CIG to go with everything on the store is a skin. When they sold it, the game wasn't in a place to support separating the skin. But when crafting comes in, it will absolutely support that. And I think somebody at CIG lost an argument. I think the argument that was lost is we tell them now that it's a skin, or we tell them later that it's a skin. And I think they're going to tell us later, just to rip the fourth wall Band-Aid off. I think they're going to tell us later, after they've made some money, that it's a skin. Once they figure out crafting, oh, we ran into a problem with this, and we're going to come up with some, BS that says that we have to make it a skin and we can't return it because, oh no, we didn't know. But then you've already made a bunch of money on people who wanted to buy it to get the advantage in it, whatever. So I think they can roll this back still in the future, especially when Crafting and Resource Network comes out.
Yeah, I mean, it's really shit practice. It's basically what they do with all the ships is put them in overpowered, you buy them, and then nerf them. Okay.
So I'm trying to get through this fast. So in tier 1 or tier 2, I believe it is, they're developing a button to quick equip, like they talked about with the item lock or the suit lockers. So they are developing a quick equip button, like in Eve, like you said. I don't know if it's going to include like a buy from whatever. So if they do not give us the item back and we get insurance, UEC back, and if warranty still exists, and if I'm doing a lot of ifs here, insurance has also been said to tie to risk. So in Pyro, even with high level insurance, the likelihood that you're going to get your ship back in with greater tier comes greater coverage in the riskier area. So if you go into a contested zone with tier 1 insurance on a gun, you're probably not going to get the money back because, hey, idiot, I'm an insurance company. You went into this risky place. You're not going to get your money back. If you got tier 3, if you paid premium tier 3 for your gun insurance, maybe they'll give you the money back for your contested zone, whatever. And then the other thing, you can respond to that if you'd like, but the risk being tied to the place you lost it is, I think, pretty important to remember.
I think we'll get there eventually when there's more star systems.
Sure. Yes. And I think right now it's just placeholders. And we're so many placeholders in star system right now that aren't the way they're supposed to be, scanning, like so many things. So I'm really not trying to take up anybody else's time. What was the thing that I was trying to think of? I'll come back to it. On lighter news, the Star Kitten, right? The Star Kitten sneak peek, that was in front of an ironclad in the background. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Just to
But
just to
in lighter
change
news,
the topic.
immediately
Yeah.
after coming up with the solution, there's an armor that's going to be for sale.
Yeah. No, I was trying to remember what I was going to say, but my notes don't seem to have it.
I don't know
Anyway,
then.
I'm not going to get
Yeah.
it back. I'm not going to get it back. So I think it's not. We should definitely pressure them to say that it's a skin, and we should definitely pressure them to say what you're buying in the store is a skin. Oh, I remember. Then when we're buying stuff, we can use it in Arena Commander, and you can use it ad nauseum over and over and over again. They could say that that's what you were buying. You were buying a weapon for Arena Commander, and then what it exists in the PU is going to be a skin. I think that would be a good way to walk it back. I'm not a
Maybe
fan of any of it,
I
but
don't know. I don't know.
yeah, I guess it's okay to disagree. But for the viewers out there, we got to. I think we should remember warranties. I think we should remember risk. And when you go out and you lose your thing and you get the UEC back, you got to go buy it again, or you buy 10 of the gun from Mike, who is making the gun, right? If you're making the guns, they have to buy 10 or 15 of them, and they get the UEC back if they die in a less risky area, and they get less UEC back if they die in a more risky area, and they have to go back and buy it from you. And we only get USC back based on the value of the shirts when you bought it, because if your prices increase between when they bought it and when they died, when they go back to get it, you might charge them more. So I was really worried about this in the beginning, but I think I've come around to remembering all the things that we're missing, because we're missing so many things. It's too many things. But once we bring all those things
the only
together, this is
rebuttal I
less
have to
scary.
you, dude, is I have been here the entire process, and there's so many things that have been at CitizenCon that have changed completely, been ignored, don't exist, aren't never going to happen, and so on. So if we're thinking that the most recent CitizenCon is somehow a magical escape from that, that's the definition, man.
It's the only reason I'm breathing easier. And to get somebody to listen to me, like to get the company, not you, but to get the company to listen to us, to understand where we're coming from, saying, hey, remember warranty.
Yeah, what's
Remember
going
to
on with
talk
that?
about that.
Yeah, that's
like
where we
what's
need
going
to
on
be.
with that. I think that's a very effective strategy that they can comment on, because they can't comment on so many other things.
That's what we have to take away
we need
from
clarification.
Yes, that's what we have to come away from the conversation between you and I is somebody needs to talk about that. What the hell?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And
so
then
we'll
risk,
leave it there
risk
though.
in that. Yeah.
We'll leave it there because there's oh my god, the list is getting longer. So we'll let you go, Clever, but I'm glad we came to the right conclusion, I guess, between the two of us.
I'm a huge fan of you bringing people on to disagree. It takes a lot of constitution, and I think you're the guy to do it. I really feel respected in how we disagree. This is awesome. I love this. I really admire you for doing this.
I appreciate that, because I don't ever see that in the comments, and I'm doing my best there. I know I can be kind of abrasive, so I try.
No, be abrasive. We can take it. Some of us can't, but you're the best at reading that, and you're really gentle with people who need it. I can take it, but you should really know, and I think anybody who believes the same in the call is coming up, really let SaltEMike know how much you love what he's doing for him. You know, like, it's really cool. So
thanks, dude.
Bye.
Catch you later, Clever. Be good.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not used to that. That was weird. People don't normally say anything nice. So I don't know what to do with that, but thank you, Clever. And I hope most people feel like him. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, except for Croncy's. I mean, the worst host of all time. I mean, come on. All right, let's bring on our next caller, PC 101. PC 101.
Right.
What's up?
You suck. So I just want to bring you back down to your normal level.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Dumb, can't read, bald, the usual stuff, right?
Yeah. So where was I? I, in theory, love this, and I also hate it. Like
Makes sense.
The armor we saw on Morse video, that one at the boss armor at the end. You know, the one
that I was pointing
eye
out?
scope thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I looted for that armor specifically just to get it, for it just to sit in my hangar and not come out of my hangar ever because of gear fear. So on that aspect, I love that I will finally get to wear these cool armor.
I want that armor to be my org's armor.
Yeah.
That armor in particular.
But I think
that's not a cosmetic on the store armor.
Yeah, it's an in-game one.
That's just in-game. I'll bring it up on the stream so you guys can see it, okay? It's the Pyro Amalgamated Morozov armor that you get at Checkmate. There's like a boss that shows up if you farm the bosses there. I'll bring it up. I just got to make sure that Morph's video is muted. There you go.
So like maybe that should be maybe there should be classes of armor. Like uncommon would be stuff you buy at store. Boss armor is like legendary, and then like store stuff's rare or something. I don't know.
Can I find a slightly more elegant solution? What if I loot that armor and I'm able to research it, Rust style?
Yeah.
And then I can just apply that cosmetic. There can be in-game cosmetics that are cool. There could be out-of-game cosmetics on the store that are really cool, and I have no problem with it being that way. I am still scrolling and looking for it, guys. Just please be patient. There can be in-game cosmetics that are mega cool, and you know, the most amazing ones are ones that are purchased on the store. I don't even care about that. I know some people, like I remember Asmon freaking out about that with WoW, but that never bothered me entirely. FOMO stuff is just a mechanic that is a thing, sadly, and I wish it wasn't, but it is, and it works. So yeah, but I'll let you continue. I'm sorry.
Yes, I love that aspect, but I think it has such a negative aspect in every other part of the game. So
yeah, it's too much on the game, right?
Yeah.
Here it is.
For example,
on the right.
Yeah, that one. Even I like the scorched ones as well, but I don't wear the scorched as well because of gear fear.
Yeah.
But what was I going to say?
Too many touches, too many things.
Sorry. So, like, the justification being that they want players to immediately get back into the fight, I don't agree with, because when I die, the time from me dying to re-upping, claiming the ship, going to QTing back to location is such a small period of that time. The majority of it is like the QT and the thingy and the claiming the ship.
Yeah.
So, because when I spawn, I immediately just grab whatever armor, whatever guns I have already in my inventory, because I've looted them in the past. So every time I go to bunker, I'll loot that and go, eventually take it home and I put it in the storage. So I've never had a problem of re-upping the gear. And I think now that you will just immediately spawn with that gear, I have no reason to ever touch a loot box other than maybe ammo, because I already have my perfect armor set, my perfect gun. I don't even need to go in contested zones anymore because I already have all the best gear.
Exactly. So just pause for a second. For anybody, please, that is 100%, I want to get my stuff back right away. You know, no looting. I don't care about any of that stuff. Please take a step back and understand that the way you play Star Citizen is the way you play Star Citizen, but that other people play the game in other ways. One thing I've never done here is if you want to take screenshots, go take them. There's no way that a contested zone existing in Star Citizen has any effect on you taking screenshots of some pretty clouds, right? So you have to allow people to enjoy their game, and loot goblins in MMOs are definitely a thing, and you cannot take that away from the game mechanics. You just can't. It's like one of the the standard builds in an MMO, I guess, for lack of a better term. It's like one of the character types is loot goblins, and you can't take that away from people. That's crazy. So go ahead, PC. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it also affects how you approach a mission. If I go to Ghost Hollow, got to kill a guy, I'll park on the hill, I make my way down the hill, slowly picking them off, because I don't want to get into a big gunfight where I die and have to do all that re-upping. So that fear of gear loss affects how you play the game. Whereas now, it's just going to be that Medi-Ursa trailer. So you just immediately gear up, run out, kill them, run straight in, guns blazing, die, spawn in the Ursa, run out, over and over and over. That whole trailer fits this now so much now. But
yeah,
also if I'm running in there and I take a tier 2 arm injury, immediately I just go, I've got an injury. No worries, I'll just backspace back to Ursa.
Yep.
There's no
Backspace.
consequences.
Well, one thing that we did not talk about is the 4.1 200,000 credits to respawn thing that isn't deducting the money from everybody. I have not had any money deducted from me from backspacing. That is their solution to that problem. Also not very elegant. Just very thrown in and just charge them 200K so they don't want to backspace.
What if you don't have the money?
I have no idea.
You just don't get you spawn without your gear then?
No idea.
Yeah.
No idea.
And then I also think it kills player interaction. Example, yesterday when we found those two Spanish guys, because of the whole Daisy aspect in my brain, our immediate response was like, hey, we're friendly, because you don't want to in a gunfight and lose your gear. And that ended up being a good experience. We teamed up later on. Once again, we teamed up with more Fear VoIP. There's never any point to speaking to people now. I think that has such a negative aspect of interacting with players because you don't have that gear fear anymore, so you don't have to worry about that. Oh, I'm friendly, don't kill me. It's just you're going to kill them first now.
Yeah. And over again until they quit.
Yeah.
Instead of, kill them and then you have time for a little while. All right, I'm safe for a bit.
Yeah. I think if there's any change they're going to do to what they're releasing now, you cannot spawn with your ammo. I think you should spawn with because at the moment you die, any ammo that's attached to your body respawns with you. Yeah. So when you respawn, you should
temporary, so I feel like that's a technical issue that they didn't solve. Yeah.
Including your guns. Your guns should be empty, so you can't just immediately run out guns blazing. You still have to have that get back to your body to get your ammo.
My gun was empty. Yeah.
It wasn't for me. We tested that. We'd fire the gun, we'd backspace.
I know. It happened to me though.
So.
So, like Frosty said, there's going to be bugs, and
yeah. I think there's just so many aspects. I'm going to leave it there. There's so many aspects of the game that this interacts with that makes the game worse. So our game experience is getting worse for the promise that in the future it'll get better when we get tier 1, but we have no time frame for when that happens.
Yeah.
They're making it worse, and the promise it'll get better in the future.
Yeah.
And that's where I'll leave it.
All right, brother. And
sorry, Croncy. I know you don't look very interested about the conversation.
I know we're so boring, but yeah, I just PC 101's been posting YouTube videos and stuff about 4.1. So if you want any more information on it, check out his channel if you haven't yet. And I look forward to running through the whole Hathor mechanic with you going forward because it was fun.
There's Cutlet in chat, so you probably want to speak to him now.
Yeah. All right. Bye, PC. All right. We'll go to our next caller. Like I said, if Space Cutlet showed up, we're going to let him skip the line and pop in. But same rules would apply to Cutlet here is 5 or so minutes. But yeah, I wanted to have him on as a guest. So if anybody's just popping into the live stream, the plan was initially myself, Croncy, Cutlet. And then I thought it was way better suited that content creators were not forcing their opinion onto everyone and allowing the community to speak their mind and that be the highlight of the show. So in this case, I would, if Cutler was to come on, it would be in the same vein as everyone else, including myself. I gave myself about 5 minutes and moved on to you guys. So with that said, our next caller is Lightsmith. Lightsmith, welcome.
Yos, what's going on?
How's it going?
Not too bad, not too bad. I'm here to disagree with you.
Perfect.
By the way.
Love it.
But not like on the details and the particulars. I think we can all armchair dev all day and come up with like all kinds of fun, interesting ideas for insurance, death of a spaceman, and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Can you do me a favor though
and
before you start disagreeing? Talk a little closer to your mic if you can. There you go.
Oh, my bad. I can do
good.
that. I can do that.
Gotcha.
All right. Real quick though, I want to say I'm a huge loot goblin. I love stealing all the loots, man. My backpack is full when I leave. I'm carrying a third gun every bunker and distro center and CZ I walk out of, every encounter I have with a player. I love it. I'm
perfect.
the dude.
Because I'm going to use a conversation of somebody that I was having in Twitch chat during the last call with you after you talk about this, just to be clear, because I don't think this is going to come up from anyone else unless it comes up from you right now. So.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I love looting. Here's a little tip for people who want to loot stuff for their ships. go do the Xeno or the nine-tailed bunkers, like the illegal bunkers where you have to go kill a guy. There's always ships abandoned outside of those places because people die at them and they don't want to fight the turrets to get their ship back.
Yeah.
You go there, you blow up the turrets, you do your bunker, you are free to loot and scavenge those ships. I do that kind of looting. That's how much of a loot goblin I am. I steal the guns off of people's ships. I have like 9 sets of Ardor repeaters because all
Hell
you
yeah.
fools keep abandoning your ships there. I love it.
Yeah, it's
With
awesome.
that said,
I don't want that
my
to go
game-
away. Do you want those to not
No.
be useful or usable?
See, and this is where I stand, and this is why I say this, is because even with all that said, I go back a year ago to a conversation on another related topic we all had, and you'll probably know what I'm talking about when all I do is mention they changed something in the game when they released the Nursa.
Yeah.
They made it so you can spawn at any medbed, and we had kind of similar conversations.
Yeah.
It was going to ruin the game. People were going to spawn right behind you. They're going to hide med beds in caves and steal all the goodies or whatever. Like, there was a lot of conversation over it, and everybody had like a new.
That was the
armchair
extreme,
dev-
though. Those
That's true.
conversations were the extreme. I
In all
think the
honesty.
issue was more, well, what's the value
No
in the
med
red
game?
versus the like? Where are the what happened to the
Right.
tiers? Where's the progression in this? But go ahead.
And
I'm
get
sorry.
this, another one of the discussions that happened with it was, well, this is going to ruin medical gameplay. And guess what? We were kind of right because it's been a year and they haven't touched medical gameplay. So we're all kind of correct right now.
Yeah.
When we look at tier 0, we look at tier 1, we're all correct in saying that. We can't believe them. We don't know what's going to happen. And in a year, they could leave it at tier 0 and it could rightfully still just sit there.
Yep.
That's true. All of that is true. But with all of that said, I kind of rise up. I go like, I get to that 30,000 foot view and I look down at Star Citizen and I think, man, how many times have I fell through an elevator? How many times have I just randomly exploded?
Yes.
How many times have all this happened? And if I could just spawn with my gear, man, that does make it so much easier. And for me, the only cosmetic item in all my hangar that I truly want to wear on a daily basis is that freaking paladin helmet. I think is that what it's called?
I
it
hate that
matches the
helmet,
sh-
but people
my sh-
love it. It's,
the
I just think it
Morningstar
looks
one, I
weird.
think it is. It's like
Yeah.
it's like the Mando helmet. It matches the shiny Inquisitor armor, so I love it.
Okay.
And I just don't want to lose it. So
That's
I would love to
understandable.
get that back every time.
And
So,
is it more of a like
kinda lie in
get
both
going? Is it more of a get going, or is it more of a I want to look a certain way thing for you?
It's a little I want to look a certain way, but it's also for me, it's like there's no easy other way in game to get that helmet. Like you could probably go into like 50 bunkers and you probably might find one.
That's
Right?
a really
So
good point
it's-
too. That's a really good
like-
point. If like gear grinding was a thing, like if you really like the SPK Morozov version of armor, or you really like the armor from Morphologist's video that we had talked about on the right,
Yeah.
there is a clear and easily figured out way to get that.
True.
But
Yeah.
your helmet, there is no way, because that is a purchased helmet on the store.
And I'm not saying that there shouldn't be fun special things to find somewhere, but it's like the shiny helmet, like the gray helmet, like that's the one that I can't find. I don't know. So it's they're limiting my abilities to achieve the goals I want in game.
Okay.
So I'm kind of for a lot of this. And I kind of look back at the med spawn thing and how even back then there was concerns. And a year later we still don't have more med gameplay. But being able to spawn in my Nursa has made this game just so much better for the past year. It has changed the game for me. It's so much better. And yes, I want deeper. I want the Nursa juice. I want to run out of Nursa juice. I want to be able to put more in. I want to break into someone's Nursa and I want to steal their juice and I want them to not be able to spawn. I think that would be really cool. But we're not going to get that now. I don't know when we're going to get that. So I'm okay with having the bed spawning. And so like when it comes to this item spawn recovery thing, I know it's not perfect at first, and in a year, it might not have gone anywhere further, but I feel like for me, even a guy who loves looting, it's still the lesser of two evils. It's probably in a year still going to give me more joy than it's going to hurt me, unfortunately, to say.
Straight up, like after dying, I died 2 or 3 times at Hathor yesterday. I am not going to lie. It was really nice to get out of my bed and not go to an item kiosk.
Yeah.
I'm not going to deny
Like,
that, and I never will.
it
But
will
it
bring some
has
ease. But again,
implications that hurt the game down the line, and other
yes.
players and
And-
other things. You can't deny that either.
And I point to the med gameplay. They let us
Yep.
spawn in every nurse and med bed in the game, and there still hasn't been an increase in med gameplay. So again, we're all right to
Yep.
have those concerns. But it's, to me, it's a little lesser of two evil. And then if I step outside the box, one last thing.
Yep.
Kind of something I've been feeling coming out of CIG recently is they kind of feel like they have this just, you know, maybe not head down, run forward kind of attitude, but they do just seem to be plowing through some things. Like if you would have told me a year ago that we were actually getting the Polaris before 2024 end, I called bullshit on it, and I was
Sure.
totally wrong.
Sure.
We have a mini map now. The lockers and the Connie work now. You can spawn in a medbed. That's fun. Like the cat's elevators are falling. We got a Banu guy. Like I do feel like that at the very least we can say they are doing stuff. It may not be perfect. It might
Oh,
sit
yeah.
at tier 0 for a year, but I'm very positive and optimistic
If
that
anybody thinks,
at least we're making progress.
if anybody thinks the way they did things before versus the way they are doing them now, that now is worse, I think you're blind. I do think the way they're doing things now is better.
Yeah.
The game still sucks. The game's not magically perfect, but it is better
Yeah.
than what we had before. Than if there was something bad that we didn't sit with it for 5 months, for 4 months, for 3 months. We're now sitting with it for 3 weeks, and during those 3 weeks, there's a PTU that we
Yeah.
can play if we didn't like what we had in the other version of the game. So I prefer this personally, but yeah. With that,
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave you because
Cool.
of time, but thank you very much for your call. And from the loot goblin standpoint, before I let you go, but I'll actually, well, I will let you go, but listen in on the show. So unmute
Thanks
me.
for having me.
Yeah, man. On the loot goblin standpoint, what somebody said in chat, and I was like, okay, that's fair, is the idea of you could still be a loot goblin in the game, but what he thinks is going to happen is the value of being a loot goblin is going to be coming from reprocessing stuff, and that's fair. But that's, again, my preference is to be creating things, not tearing them apart and selling those things. That's just a personal preference thing. But Cutlet, if you're listening, if you're hearing me, I'm bringing you in, so unmute and undeafen, hopefully. And to give him a little bit of an intro, he is a content creator, and like I said, it's kind of against my philosophy here to today. Hey, Cutlet.
I was muted.
You're all good.
Yeah.
I'm just letting everybody know that I'm bringing you on. We kind of wanted to get away from the content creators telling everybody how to think kind of thing. But I'm giving you a little bit of an intro here. Is I don't know anybody else who knows the game at a deeper level than Space Cutlet. So for me, I initially reached out to him and or to you if you're, because you're listening, to come on the show and tell us every little bit of problem that can be there, because he kind of understands it from a perspective that I never would. But then I just thought, I think it's way better to have everyone's perspective than just the three of us, because I think it would turn into just the three of us content creators.
Echo chamber.
Yeah, a little echo chambery. So I'm glad that I didn't do it that way, but I need to get your perspective. I would hate to not have it, and especially from a pirate. So from tier 0 to 2, what are your feelings on this, man?
Yeah. First of all, I want to warn, I'm a little bit not prepared. Like, I wanted to make bullet points for all of this, but I just had like 3 hours of major fighting with like 40 plus people in a group. So I'm a little bit like, my
PTO
brain
or
is live. Yeah.
Nice.
We've been like blockading other org from doing an event. So yeah. I think
Awesome.
it's like, it's what I want to say is, I just removed all my like animal anger in the past few days. Not to come here and start like just making this weird noise, just like
I had to stop yelling, because if I didn't, nobody would hear what I'm saying.
Yeah,
right.
I try to like breathe out currently. It's not that I feel better about anything that's going on right now, because my biggest problem is I'm noticing a major trend. It's not about like not being able to loot people currently in a tier 0 implementation after 4.1. It's more about the major trend I started noticing since the CitizenCon 2023, and the like the master modes, the FPS changes that were presented. Um, it's a trend of casualization of the game. It's understandable where it's coming from. It's coming from getting more people in. It's coming like apparently like a huge directive from marketing. And then doubling down on a previous CitizenCon on 2024 with the way, again, it's a pure marketing move, which they did with insurance. They split on warranty. I'm not going to get too much into that because, like, if people know what I mean about it, they know because I've talked about it so much, right?
Well, and the other weird thing is we had another caller that was like calling back to the warranty thing. Tier 1 is
it's
contradicting that.
Well,
completely.
For me, it's all the part of the same trend CEG is taking for the past few years. And I think it comes to the point of CEG it's a little bit of a rude word, but they try to milk as much audience as they could to an extent where they feel they have to make harsher decisions now and start like basically throwing the part of an audience like into a trash bin, and if they get thrown out, they will get thrown out, because again, the game for everyone is the game for no one, right?
Correct.
So
they have to choose a lane here.
They're choosing their allegiances, and obviously with the way the company have grown, they basically became what they hated back in the day. So there will align where the money is, and money is always in the bigger numbers, and the bigger numbers are always those who just want to pay money and have everything and always in their game. But that's a little bit of an intro to this. To the item like insurance. One of the things that bother me a lot is the moment CEG opened their like mouth and promised us that this year is going to be different and the new features will get isolated into different builds and will be implemented into the game when they are ready. The moment they finished that sentence, they put a dot on it. The next thing they do, they introduce a tier 0 absolutely garbage system that is not ready for release, basically crossing what they just said. And the excuse is, oh, but people were waiting for it for so long.
It's the most anticipated thing, and
most
it is
anticipated
true.
feature, yeah.
But their implementation of it,
way, bro. Like, no shit, Captain Obvious. You know, we have a list of at least 100, like 1,000 other features that are most anticipated, but you select this one, and we all know where that comes from. They want to push more sales on the pledge store.
Oh,
right?
So what you're thinking is this isn't the most anticipated? I think it is.
I mean, I don't even know. I don't really care. Like, I honestly don't care if it's it might be most anticipated on Spectrum. Maybe. I'm not
That's what they go
that.
off of.
Yeah, I don't argue that. Like, it's not most anticipated, obviously, among the people I play with. That's like no shit share. Like, again, but that's such a small minority, right? So I'm not doing any conclusions here. Like, you cannot even say what is most anticipated. It's like the most anticipated feature is what their marketing tells them to be the most anticipated feature, period. Like, no one knows that. You cannot really calculate what people think in this huge crowd. So that is like pure marketing talk. But my problem
I would fight back on that, but I'm not going to. I'll let you get to your point.
Well, do you have the real numbers of polls of the entire community? You don't.
I don't think you need a poll. I think you could see the engagement on that post is extraordinarily high compared to other posts about similar things.
The last time I checked on that post, the top 5 or whatever 10 comments where basically we don't need this shit. The last time I checked, maybe it changed.
Yes.
So
that doesn't mean that it was not one of the most anticipated features to not lose
to
cosmetics.
not get into the game.
No, to not lose cosmetics and things. That has been a thing that people have been asking for forever. Their solution is blanketed across the board, touching every item, and it was brain dead, and that's the choice they went, and that's why those posts are at the top.
Let's get to tier 0. Like, let's I'll cut renting and let's like actually get to tier 0.
Let's do it.
So the implementation is bad. I think majority, or at least a lot of people, can agree on that. Why it is bad? Well, obviously because it ruins a bunch of gameplay for well, probably mostly for PvP players, I guess, but I think it also ruins certain gameplay for PvE players because it removes a little bit of a gear fear. Even in the PvE encounters, you just like don't care anymore. Especially if you utilize the vehicles that respawn you. If you go somewhere down there, you can be as not careful as you want to be, because the moment you die, you just respawn on your Ursa, whatever, and you just go again with full gear.
You can apply this as the opposite, that removing gear fear is a positive, because people look at it as a negative as well. But yes, I look at it as a negative because I like heart pumping things, but some people don't, obviously, right?
What's the positive of it? What's the positive of it? It probably would bring in more PvP in the game.
Yes.
But the negative side of it, that PvP will become much more meaningless.
Correct.
Right? So, obvious example is contested zone. It's like you cannot get a more obvious example than contested zones. You can no longer go in like 0 to hero with a pistol, and camp someone and get something. Oh, this guy has a nice gun. I would like to take it. Oh, I cannot take it. Oh, this is a cool looking armor. I could take it. Oh, I cannot take it. I cannot take the med pants. I cannot take the med gun. Like nothing. All of that gameplay is broken. And on top of that, all the loot you gain from contested zones is kind of one time. You just run in, you come out with a full backpack of loot. You have it. I mean, you can do it technically a few more times to put all that loot on different stations if you need to not to go for it every time back and forth, but it's done. Like the moment you have it, like
once I have a tweaker attachment on my gun, I'm never going to lose.
You have
that
a tweaker attachment. That's it. Unless you do stupid things to lose it, you don't need it anymore, right? Unless you put it in your backpack.
It undermines that aspect of it altogether. It might make more fun PvP encounters at contested zones, but a lot of the fun that came from contested zones is gone. Yeah, like you're still fighting over keys, but is that enough? Is a question.
Yeah, is that enough?
Needs to be asked.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah,
we'll find out because it's not going anywhere.
I don't want to bring the argument of how it will impact crafting, because we don't really know how the system will evolve when the crafting is in. I don't believe in anything that they write. I only see what they do right now, because we don't know how T1 and T2. I honestly skimmed through T1 and T2 very briefly because like I just don't believe in that stuff, right? So what matters is what is tier 0, right? And tier 0 is the worst possible implementation of the few theoretical choices they would have.
How would you do it?
Would be so the lowest effort choice, maybe not lowest effort in regard to code, but like in regard to feeling of the game and like immersion. The lowest effort would be the skins. The way you can apply skins on ships.
Holy fuck, that's super high effort though. It basically couldn't come in. I thought you said it's low effort. Okay.
I said like low effort in regard of
thought,
like
probably
how I how I would feel it inside of the game. Like I wouldn't like that option. That's what I mean. Like it might be a high effort like to implement it, just but from the code perspective. But it's not going to be like cool. So they could do like skins. So majority of skinned items that we could buy in a pledge store, like probably 95%, are not unique items. those are based on certain base items that are easily available, purchasable in the game. So one of the easiest ways, like just a game design wise, right? I would say low effort game design wise would be just, okay, you have an option to apply a skin to this item, and it goes to that item, and when it's looted, it doesn't have the skin, it only applied on you, and very unimmersive, but whatever. That could be option number one. Another option would be what you probably will hate me on what I say, but I think it's a legit option, is an LTI kiosk with a proper rule set. So I think we talked about it before on Discord. I would see you having access to certain items because you purchased them with IRL money on a pledge store, and you have a kiosk where you could go and retrieve those items. People will say, hey, but that's duping, right? There are ways to make that duping complicated and very expensive. And at that point, is it really duping? So let's say we have a Morozov set, and let's say the cost of full set costs like 10 grand AUC. That's not the real price. I'm just making it easy, right?
Sure.
It costs 10 grand. You have a red Morozov, right? That you got from the pledge store. You lose it, you go to that kiosk, and you can get that Morozov, but that Morozov will cost you like 10x, like 100K. So you can get your item back, but you have to pay for it being pretty for now. That's for now, like a tier 0. That's how I would do it.
Okay.
You have to pay 10x for it to be pretty, and those items should have like a wear and tear in them. So when you steal that red Morozov and you run in it for like a few days, it all becomes like it loses color and all that. So you kind of, when you dupe those items like that, they lose their condition and cannot remain pristine, cool items if you don't own them on the pledge store. While you as an owner, let's say you can refurbish it, or it doesn't like go down in quality if you're the owner of it. I would have done something like that. So you can loot the items, you can get them back for a very high extra. Is it duping? It's like manufacturing them from the blueprint. It's just we don't have manufacturing now in blueprints in general, right? So for now, it's just pay an X amount of money to get them back. That's what I guess that's how I would do it. I think it would be better than what we have right now, completely destroying the looting thing, right?
I just went the route of I don't think they're going to. I don't think they can do all the extra stuff. Like, I don't know why it has to be right now, number one, right?
Oh, that's the biggest
number
question.
one.
Why?
Right? Like, why right this second?
Yeah.
And then immediately there you see the did you see the sneak peek? It's literally an armor that they want to sell.
That's the answer then. Okay,
a star kitten fucking armor. But the idea of, for me, is like, all right, cool, dude. You want to keep people's armor? Go for it. I don't even care for tier 0. But if I can't loot a gun off of somebody and ensure that when they spawn back in that they can't just instantly kill me over and over again, that's my biggest meta, the grenade launcher thing is the biggest problem. Like, I'm literally showing it right now. I just died with a grenade launcher. I think I dropped my grenade launcher a couple times, but and I just respawn right back in with it. It's not okay.
And like
right?
the fun we had boarding Polarises, that's gone.
Yeah.
I won't bother boarding a crude Polaris where I know the Zerg will keep respawning inside of the Polaris that I'm boarding over and over again. I'll just use Auroras. Like, we've been using Auroras recently for the past few days because we were like already down with the Polaris bullshit of like shield cycling and all that. All of this promotes the pure murder hobo behavior where you stop caring about any good experiences in the game. Like, I just don't want to pirate. I don't want to do anything. I cannot get gear from them. Nothing. I'll just kill. You undock, you die. You undock, you die. You try to dock, you die. Checkmate, ruin station, you die.
And it's not even like in protest. Like if you're in a zone, like let's use Pyro for an example. It's literally it has to be a strategy. Because like if you don't force them to quit the game and Alt F4 and switch servers, they're going to keep coming back and they're eventually going to kill you and stop you doing contested zones or stop you at Hathor or stop you whatever content you're doing.
I don't even say it's a protest. It's just the cruel reality of these changes, what it does to my gaming mindset.
Yeah.
Right. That's it. It's not that, oh, I am gonna fly around a gate. That's like GrieferNet wants to do that. They want to do this like huge protest, like killing everybody. It's not even about that, right? It's about the change in mindset that those like changes in general bring to me, right?
Yeah.
They could have done so many
things.
The
same one. I was like, well, if there's no point in me crafting, I still love the world that Star Citizen has built and want to live in it and want to participate in it. I guess I'm just going to be a murder hobo. Because the only thing that there is the competition between the chess game that you will play with other people, and that's it.
Yeah, it's like it's either whatever route they could have taken, either the skins ones less immersive, the more immersive, the one I was talking about with like getting your stuff back for money, and the old stuff getting like wear and tear, not looking so good. Like they could have done that. They also could have done that the item insurance, let's say, work only in Stanton. Okay, they could have done it. Like, I don't know, is it that complicated to like just have both systems and activate them depending on your location? I don't know how hard it is technologically, but I would wait at least for that before implementing this tier 0. If they wanted this tier 0 to be the way it is right now, like, yo, like Pyro is a full-on PvP system. Just make this one addition where those guys who want to run in fancy gears and never lose them, they can keep in Stanton and leave the Pyro like with a full loot mechanic.
I think we're going to get there. I don't know if it was capable of being tier 0, but I think that's where we're going to go.
This. From what I've heard, that's all I can say. From what I've heard, we're so far from it. Yeah. We're not gonna. Well, if we get it, it's gonna be somewhere like closer to 1.0.
Of course.
So
of course.
I'm very afraid that this tier 0, we're stuck with this for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Me too.
And this is crazy. This is crazy. Same thing. If we elaborate this like and expand this idea further, because we talked about it already.
Don't go too much further because I got to get to other people. So
no.
To keep this your last thing.
Probably the last thing I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So they could have done the same thing to ships, right? Stanton,
it's in
you
the
get
tier
everything
1
back, components back, FPS gear back. Pyro, you gotta risk it. Don't want to lose the ship components. Fly stop. If you want to really like go hard on and like have a advantage in ship's outfit, be prepared to lose that in Pyro. If you're not ready for that, don't do it. Right?
I hope we get that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I had a lot of stuff in my head, but again, I'm so bamboozled by this 3 hours or 4 hours of action I had before. I think that's like the major point.
I think it's best to focus on tier 0 anyway, too, because again, like we said, I think we're going to be stuck with this for a while, and just getting them to concede some things and appreciate, help other people in other avenues, and just try to get it as good as possible, and try to please everyone as best as possible, knowing that there are people that play the game in different ways, is what we need.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm totally up. Again, people usually don't get me when I talk about all this PvP. They don't understand. I'm a very hard advocate of having like safer zones for people, to play. And they all think I'm like a griefer. I want to kill everybody and all that. Like, I'm a super big advocate for having place for newer players or chill players or PvE players to just chill around. It's just a matter of risk reward. Like, they should stop giving the good rewards in the low risk zones, and everyone who want to chill in Stanton, whatever. I'm fine with not looting them. Just give us the place where stuff matters. I hope the Pyro would be that place.
Yeah.
But it is not. It is not. And it ended up being red background Stanton, right?
Yeah. for now. And
All right, man.
Fingers
I'm
crossed.
just not gonna steal any more time. You have more callers. I think I've said most things of what I wanted. I tried to be as less of an animal as I'm on my stream, because yeah, otherwise it would get out of control.
If you want
I
to see the
appreciate,
animal, go
yeah.
watch
If you want to see
Cutlet's
the
stream.
animal, go to my stream.
Twitch.tv/Space
Exactly.
Cutlet. All right, Cutlet. Love you, dude.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take any more of your time. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for listening. I love
man.
you all, chat, and you, Mike, and
All right.
Croncy, but he's frozen, right? Okay.
Yeah. Croncy,
All
say
right.
goodbye. All right. Talk to you
Yeah.
later.
Peace out. Yeah, peace.
Croncy, it's very rude to have not talked to anybody during the show yet. Very rude. All right, let's bring on our next caller, Oblivion. Oblivion, what's up, dude?
It's doing good. How are you doing, man?
I'm well. I have a really rude host though, but it's fine.
Yeah, I know. Croncy's been a little vocal today. So
Strongly rooting against me. It's
yeah,
unbelievable.
it is how it is. So item recovery.
Yes.
I have some opinions. I think
go.
they differ a lot from your opinions.
Perfect.
Obviously, the elephant in the room, tier 0. I think in its current state, it's probably going to be a big like dent in the community for iteration. I think they're going to iterate on it throughout this PTU cycle. I think we've had one single PTU where it's been enabled.
Correct.
I don't think we've seen them talk about anything other than this first bit of communication.
Agreed. But if we didn't say anything and we only praised it, it would stay the same.
Oh yeah, obviously we need to
Okay.
give criticism, but I think they're going to change some stuff because I
hope
think
so.
Zach is an amazing dab at what he's been doing. I think they've been cooking really hard with all the FPS stuff. I think they have some idea of what they're doing.
Zach, I
But-
don't think has anything to do with this, just to be clear.
I think he does. I mean, all FPS stuff at least
Okay.
in some point goes through him because he
How
talked
about
about
this?
doing all the animation stuff
Zach
for
has
sliding.
nothing to do with this. I don't have to say I think. Zach has nothing to do with this.
Well, I think it definitely went through his desk. Whether he has a say in whether it gets implemented or not,
Okay.
he at least knows about it.
Okay.
I think
Yeah,
that's
sure.
a good middle ground.
Sure.
But I think tier 1 and tier 2 is obviously they didn't go into a lot of information about it, but I think it's way more interesting to think about the like macro of how it could affect the economy, assuming they
Okay.
make some small changes.
Like what?
So I think any economy needs some loss of progression as a consequence for death or loss. Like,
Okay. Agreed.
in its current state, where you just get a copy of the item with crafting, I don't think that would work.
Okay, so we're
But-
in agreement then. I'm
Yeah,
confused how
yeah.
you don't agree.
I think if they iterate on it and they say, you die, you get your items back, but they either decraft or they're the base value, I think this is an amazing thing for the economy.
Sure.
Because suddenly, if it decrafts or it has a loss in progression, you have an infinite economy where people are constantly rebuying. And it has potential to be even more than the full loot economy that we currently have, or economy in quotes. I think if we have this kind of system where if you die, your item gets kind of lost slightly, where it either decrafts or you have to go back to your body to find it. I think if I'm a crafter and they decide to do that kind of system, I think I'm celebrating. I don't know about you.
Yeah, maybe. I just I mean it's so much to guess on still.
Yeah. They gave us so much information about the wrong things.
Correct.
Like they told us a lot about if I'm excited to get my sub gear back, I'd like this information, but if I want to know the macro of how this is going to affect the economy, I'm disappointed because it feels like they intentionally left out information on crafting either because they didn't know how it was going to evolve or because they didn't want to spill
that's
beans.
why. I think that's why. I think just like you said about this first iteration of this in the first PTU, probably have about 3 weeks of this left before it actually goes to a live server and whatever event they're going to do is going to happen, right? So there's still time to iterate on this. Well, guess what? We don't even have excuse me. We don't even have
We don't have
crafting.
crafting.
So, it's from the same vein, it is going to iterate quite a
Oh,
bit
absolutely.
from 0. So yeah,
And
I don't think they
think
want to be
this-
held to anything.
The sentiment that is here is probably more important than the words, right? I think it's very clear that they not only, like, obviously they want to make money by getting people their sub gear and want to stay in that line, but
Yep.
I think they've been moving more towards, I think Cutlet said casualization of the game, and I think while he may be a little opinionated on his view of that, I think in general they are trying to make the game less frictioned. I think they're trying to remove some of the friction from the game, just in things they've done recently. And I think if the 1.0 plans of having these instanced PvE zones is still the plan, which I can only assume it is, having this kind of fallback where you respawn and you still have some progression, I think will help push players who are maybe a little less confident in their ability to play the game into content that is actually exciting.
What if I said looting armor off of your body and looting components off of your ship is not the friction? Would you agree or disagree?
I completely agree. It is the re-gearing after you die that is, I think, the issue for most people.
Yep.
And I think it'll only get worse as we have systems like Death of a Spaceman and Insurance come online in full. I think this is almost a little early because we haven't seen those systems in game. This feels like drastic measures. But when those systems come on, this will feel like a little bit of pittance for how bad those systems are.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we're really in that much of a disagreement. But okay.
We're in a situation where we're just getting this without any sort of supporting information on how other systems that tie into this will work. And that's the issue. That's always been the issue with CAG, is they give us a breadcrumb of information, but they don't tell us the full picture because they don't know the full picture, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. And it's the part of the us playing the game before it's done. So
yeah,
that's trash. But I'm getting it's time is up. So is there anything else you want to go, or are you kind of done?
I think I'm kind of done.
Okay.
Good job, Croncy. Good job, Mike. Great
thank
podcast
you.
so far.
I'll speak for Croncy. He says thank you so much.
Yeah, have a good one.
And I love Mike. He's the best ever. All right, our next caller is Bosun, and that's our second to last caller. Nightmare, you're going to be our last one. Anybody else in the queue, I do apologize, but 2 hours and here we are. So, Bosun, what's up? What do you want to talk about?
Good morning. Thanks for having me on. Maybe bounce a question off of me to help me shake off the nerves a little bit.
How do you feel about me looting your favorite gear? Did you buy gear on the store? There you go.
Let's say, yes.
Okay. And how do you feel about the changes now that we have that out there?
I think you should be able to loot it, without question.
Should you be able to lose it?
Should I be able to lose it?
Correct.
So this is actually, I do have a bullet point on this. So one thing about losing or language and losing is I think that there's a difference in losing something and losing access to something.
Okay.
So if I have some subscriber gear that I'm wearing, you should absolutely be able to lose it. But if we're just talking about cosmetics, because crafting isn't in the game yet, right? We assume that in the future that craftable gear is going to have a certain amount of stats or attributes applied to it. As of right now, when it comes to cosmetics, I don't care what you take from me, because I haven't, with this theoretical kiosk idea that we've thrown out, I always have access to it. So I just go back to the kiosk. As you referenced in your video in Eve, you go to your fitment inventory list or your fitment invoice. You pay 30,000 to completely re-equip all your gear, and then you go out again.
Yeah.
Right.
But you have to buy all that stuff.
Yeah, you have to buy all of it. It removes that friction of wandering around the station for 20 minutes, having to re-gear. You just go to the kiosk, it saves your loadout, and you're ready to go. Okay.
Yep. But you have to be in a place that has those items, to be fair, and you have to have a very robust and active player base and an economy.
Yeah.
So there's some caveats to that, but yes.
Yeah, sure. And I kind of was tossing around the idea in my head about when it comes to re-equipping that gear, we know that there are certain items that we can buy from. Now, I don't know every item in the game at this point, but we can
Mhm.
buy an arc light pistol and a P4 AR at most vendors at
Pretty much
most
everywhere,
locations
yeah.
in the game. Pretty much everywhere. Okay. If there needs to be different tiers of purchasable weapons that you can respawn or re-equip with at the kiosk, right?
Yep.
So if you can buy it in a store, you can just automatically re-equip with it.
Yeah.
Grenade launchers, the Gauss cannon or whatever it's called, that's a no-go.
Yep.
Because what we're looking at here is, this just gets me to thinking about the minutia and the future of the decisions being made about this, is that what we're looking them fail at here with these tier systems is two ideas, and that is quality of life versus balance. Okay.
Yes.
And if people are waking up in med beds, and I remember you mentioning, what if you wake up on a carrot? Are you going to wake up on a carrot with a grenade launcher every time? To me, that's a no way. That's a no way, Jose.
Yeah.
That can't
And
happen.
Bosun, I'm really sorry. My wife during your call came in, and I don't know how many people know, but my wife suffers with bipolar disorder, and she just came in and said, I am not doing okay. And
Okay.
I gotta let you go. I gotta let
Yeah,
everybody
yeah,
go.
yeah. Take care of
Okay.
your fan, bud.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
So
of course.
I'm gonna go ahead and say goodbye to you, and I appreciate your call. And Nightmare, I
Yes, thank
appreciate
you.
you as well. And apologize to you guys, but I gotta go. I gotta go take care of what's important. And item insurance is not it.
Yeah,
So
let's
I
let's
hope,
talk again later.
please shoot me a DM, Nightmare. Shoot me a DM, and let's have a conversation at least, okay? And I promise I'll respond. All right. Bosun hopped out, and I mean, even saying that made her, I think, feel upset, and that's not really my intention at all. So I'm gonna get going. I'm gonna try to take care of her, and yeah, family first, guys. It's just a video game. It's not that upsetting, and I'll catch you. I'll catch all you guys next time. All right. So be good. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to answer the call. All right. Catch you later.